Hello and welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons Live. I'm Fergus, I am your host. Today I am joined by Trevor, Gooner Hilsey on Twitter, and Big Steve, Warrington is joining us. And we're hopefully going to be joined by Scotty Mike Addison, on the panel shortly. We're going to talk about quite a few different bits and pieces. We're going to talk about the Frankfurt game, which you were at, Trev, weren't you?
I was, Fergus. Yes, I was.
And we are going to look at just generally have a breeze over that game, but our main focus will be on the Villa game, which was on yesterday. We'll also do a little bit of a Gooner debate, which I did share some topics with you guys. Some of you were very open to discussing them. Some of you were less so, and nobody's going to get pointed out on that one. So, how are we doing, Scotty? I introduced you when we were trying to jump in because you had a poor connection, but
yeah, and I come on shaking my head, making sure my camera is working. Like, hey!
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. It's still cold up north, I see.
Oh, for God's sake! Do you know what? I just can't be arsed.
Yeah, that's probably more the truth of it. So on Thursday we went to Frankfurt, and we had our first game in the Europa League. We took on what I would have thought as our most competitive opponent in that group stage. It was a trip that I wanted to make. As I said before, for circumstances of stuff going on, life gets in the way. I didn't go, but Trev, you end up going. What was it like? What was your journey like, and with the atmosphere in and around the ground and beforehand? I know we done some live chats. You got to the stadium earlier in the day, and you saw them doing some training beforehand, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, Fergus. Yeah, it was a good trip, mate. It was a very good trip indeed. Very lucky living here on Kos. This time of year, up until the end of October, we've got direct flights to Frankfurt, so I was able to jump on a plane straight to Frankfurt, straight back again. Atmosphere before the game around the city was very good. Lots of Arsenal fans there, lots of old faces. It was lovely to catch up with them all. But them German fans, they're the same at every German ground I've ever been to. They're so loud and passionate for their club. The whole stadium sings. It's so difficult to make yourself heard as an away set of fans in these German stadiums. But we made a good effort. It was a good turnout, and a cracking result with a young side. I owe Emery an apology because I had doubts about his team choice. Turned out the man knew he got it right, didn't he? Great night, yeah. Excellent trip, Fergus.
Well, we did chat while you were in the stadium, and you couldn't hear a word, did you? You tried to do. We done Facebook Live and stuff like that, and you couldn't get a word in edgeways, could you? Over the noise, especially as their team came out. But they're in there early as well, and they stay on late.
Yeah, they do, Fergus. You know that it's there was no way I was going to hear what you were saying on the phone. Even if I'd have had headphones in, I wouldn't have heard you. And they're that passionate, these fans. I mean, they lost 3-0. They got well beaten. You know, really, on another night, we could have had 5 or 6, you know. We can talk about that in a bit. But even though they lost 3-0, their players were still on the field 10 minutes after the game. Their main end with all the flags in that I showed you on the little clip I did, they were all still there. None of them had gone. Amazing fans, amazing atmosphere. Credit to their club. Yeah. And
I think you made a comment that said that they were less friendly the following day after they had their they had lost.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip home for me, Fergus, because obviously I'm not going back to England with all the Arsenal fans. I'm coming on like a German holiday flight. I flew back with Thomas Cook, actually. What a German, I'm Condor. So I'm on a plane full of 200 and odd Germans. Even 2 or 3 of them said that they were at the game the night before, but they didn't seem to be as sociable as the Germans who had been in Frankfurt the day before. I don't know why, but I had my Arsenal shirt. I'm proud as punch on that plane, the only Englishman on there. And yeah, it was a good trip home. So
fair play.
Yeah.
Listen, and we came into that game on the back of a disappointing 2-2 draw against Watford, after which a defensive display was highly criticised, and we surrendered a 2-goal lead. Goals from academy graduates Joe Willock and Saka helped Arsenal overcome a difficult test against Eintracht Frankfurt to begin their Europa League campaign with a victory. Willock on the 38th minute, but the Gunners in front with a deflected shot before Saka, who's impressed, got a second by smashing his first goal in for the club on the 85th minute. Aubameyang got a third 2 minutes later, and we ended a three-game winless run. What did we make of the game? Arsenal kept a clean sheet, their second one of the season, but we still looked a little bit uncertain at times. Steve, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, I thought again that our main issue was the midfield. There just seemed to be no cohesion. They were just running through us like a hot knife through butter. Defensively, I think we started quite shaky. There were lapse moments, but I think overall, credit where it's due. Mustafi had a decent game. Luiz, looked fairly solid for the most part. Chambers did a good job at right back. Who was it left back? It was Kolasinac, wasn't it? I think just standard sort of unsure defensively. Going forwards, as the game went on and they got tired, we just punished them. And, we've seen us do that time and time again.
And you mentioned Mustafi, Mike. You're a big fan of Mustafi. He started with Luiz and he done okay. Do you want to unmute yourself?
No comment. I didn't want to unmute myself. I thought I might swear.
It might be better. And some people are using your catchphrase in the comments, which I won't put up just yet. Actually, you know what?
Well, yeah, let him have
go.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man.
Potsy comes up
Daniel.
with that. Yeah. So, points of note: Ozil didn't travel.
There's a shot.
He was rested for the Villa game, which
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk about.
He had played 70 minutes all season. Come on, boys, give the man a break.
71
Listen,
minutes.
Before you move off this game, don't you boys forget there was only one reason that we kept it 0-0 so long, and that was that young man Martinez in goal. Had a blinder.
Very good.
Which one of you mob on here was it that said to me at the start of the season when I was saying Martinez will be a decent number 2? No, he won't. He's not good enough.
Wasn't me.
And
At all.
he kept us at 0-0. Young man deserves credit for it.
I've got Steve on the right hand side here, so I'm pointing at him. It was you, Steve. Take your credit, Steve, when you get it.
No, I don't think it was me that was saying it at all. I said that you look at. I said at the start of the season, and I said the other day when Potsy was on the preview with Fergus. Actually, I said Martinez needs a chance. Look at him, how he performed at Reading, and I was saying this last season. I said the guy needs a chance. So it wasn't me at all. It may have been Manny. It may have been. In fact, I think it may have been Max. Actually, thinking about it, but I think Max liked Martinez.
Steve, are you distributing blame?
I think he is.
I said last season, look at how Martinez was playing at Reading. I said he deserves a shot, and I said that on the weekend as well.
In fairness, I don't think he's going to be our first team keeper, and there's questions that people have over Leno and so on. But yeah, I think he's a good number 2. He's probably is he a bit too good to be number 2? Maybe he should be at another club and getting first team football all the time. Look at what since you brought up this, look at Fabianski. How he's doing at West Ham. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's doing really well at West Ham.
Listen, what the one thing that Martinez did do well. He used his head when just distributing the ball from the back, right? We all know that they've been told to play the short ball from the back. We all know because they do it every game. But Martinez didn't take any risks. If there was nowhere to go, it got the hoof, and that's how it should be. Play the ball from the back. Play it every time if you can. But if there's nothing on, don't put them under pressure and give a goal away. Get it clear. And we did give the ball away once or twice when he hoofed it up the field, but it wasn't in a dangerous position, Ryan
McMurray has messaged into us and said that he said he was okay, but he prefers Macy better. and he was definitely impressed with Martinez. So yeah, Ryan, I think we all were impressed with his performance. He was.
I agreed.
He was
I didn't.
very much.
I'll hold my hands up. I didn't. It's questions still out there. It's only one game.
He was more.
He did well. I'm glad to say credit where it's due. He did well.
And he had a good preseason.
And he had a good game.
I think.
But I just thought like this slating Eleno is, to me, he's not done really much wrong. He hasn't done anything wrong.
I've not.
No, I'm not saying it's you. I'm not saying it's you guys or anything like that. But from what I've seen, and obviously on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, there is a lot of people out there that do give him a lot of stick. But I just don't see why.
Boys, it's funny though, isn't it? Because I posted on Facebook at half time in the game that I thought Emil Smith-Rowe was having a really good game. And I genuinely thought that, being in the stadium, he had that chance, he could have scored. And I was watching the game and I thought, yeah, Smith-Rowe's done really well here. And within 10 seconds of me posting that on Facebook, I got ripped to pieces, absolutely ripped to pieces. He's giving the ball away, doing this, doing that. And so the second half, I started watching him a bit more, focusing on him. And I stand corrected. He was giving the ball away a bit and he eventually got subbed off, didn't he? But he's only a young man. He'll come again.
The game did seem like it went past him a little bit. So, listen, that's the Frankfurt game. A few facts on there. The final score was obviously 3-0. Arsenal picked up their first European win against German opposition since November 2013 when we beat Dortmund 1-0 in the Champions League. Wow, do you remember the Champions League, boys?
That's the competition we're going to be in next year, Fergus.
You know what? I've nailed on third place. Who knows? It's a bit like the end of last season. Nobody seems to want off those four in the mix, and you've got West Ham and Leicester and doing what they're doing. So who knows? But having failed to win any of our previous 5 trips, we've drawn 1 and lost 4. Arsenal have only lost 1 of the 13 group stage Europa League games. We've won 10, drawn 2, while this was the 6th consecutive clean sheet in the group stage of the competition. Saka, you talked about Martinez. Saka also needs a mention. He's the youngest player to score for Arsenal in the Europa League / Champions League since October 2008, when Aaron Ramsey, who was 17 years and 300 days old, netted a goal against Fenerbahce. What's that? Anthony Harris has just come along, and you must be aiming this to you, Trev.
Yeah.
I wondered where it was. I saw it and I thought, who's third?
Who's third?
Where are we going to finish then, Anthony? Where are we going to finish then?
Anthony. You drunk, finishing third. I get it now. Wait, come up there. Are you drunk, Anthony?
You need to write it a bit better because we're doing this all live on the hoof. Anthony went, you drunk third, and normally that is aimed at me, as being Paul Merson, aka apparently.
Well, you're not wrong on that a lot.
Oh right.
Right, so looking at some of the stats, we still let them have 24 shots on our goal, which is, we keep on letting, and we'll do it on the Villa game as well, which we're going to go into in a second. We keep on letting all these shots come on our goal, and it just seems, what's the solution? Is it a poor defence, which we all criticise, or is it the midfield isn't strong enough? I really can't put my finger on it.
I know. I'm going to say I can say something. We need a defensive midfielder. We haven't got one.
But we need one playing.
We haven't got one.
Position.
We haven't got one.
We have.
Who?
We've got a defensive midfielder. We've got Luiz. Right. We've got Chambers. We've got Torreira. We're just playing the wrong man there.
Well,
I'm not.
You could argue. Well, I think we can argue about with Chambers in the Villa game because I've got some questions there as well for that one. But defensive midfielder wise, yes, we do need a defensive midfielder. But I think I honestly think we need to go out and buy one. Torreira, yeah, he is good in that position, but I don't know what instructions he's getting to bomb upfield. I really don't know what all that is about. But at the minute, our holding midfielder is Xhaka, and I think we all know where that is. And we all know what we can say
we'll
about that.
touch on Xhaka because when we talk about the Villa game, but Torreira in the Frankfurt game, just to close on the Frankfurt game, Torreira in the Frankfurt game was playing more forward role, and I thought he actually had a good game. Anthony did come back to us and clarified that we're not a top 4 team, and he does wish he was actually drunk.
Good man.
Okay. Man of the match. Who would be your man of the match for the Frankfurt game? Trev, I'll start with you since you were out there.
I'm going to go with Martinez for his saves and his distribution. I'm going to go with Martinez.
Okay. Mike?
Saka. I'm going to be different. I've got a funny feeling everyone's going to say Martinez, so I'm going to go Saka. I think he deserves it.
Steve?
No, I'm going with Saka. I think he was absolutely relentless. He tracked back the tackle that he put in before he passed to Aubameyang to get that third goal. He was, I mean, Martinez was cracking. He kept the clean sheet, but Saka drove us to getting a couple of goals. So I think Saka for me. Goals win games.
Yeah, they do, but keepers keep them out. I was so torn on this. Saka was excellent, probably edged it, but Martinez, I thought, had an excellent game. Had an excellent game. So we're onto the Villa game lineups. Looking at the lineups, Saka started, and obviously on the back of his excellent performance that he had in Frankfurt. Ozil, he was rested. He was on the bench. He didn't start. Lads, anybody got an idea what the hell is up with Ozil?
Yeah, I can tell you, but I can't tell you without swearing.
Well, you're not allowed to swear. Please do not swear.
No, I won't. No, idolizitis, is it, or lazyitis? I don't know.
I think it's also Emery. I think Emery's not wanting to play him as well.
Yeah, well, he's got a good reason not to want to play him. He has, because if he's not turning up on the pitch when he does get on the pitch, he's only had 70 minutes. Well, it was 71 minutes so far this season. And what's he done in them? He's made one decent pass.
Yeah, but to be fair, you look at the Watford game, going back, he wasn't dreadful. He didn't do a lot, but he wasn't bad. He didn't.
Where was he? I didn't even see him. The only time I saw him was when he's walking off the pitch.
But he did make that pass to Maitland-Niles to get across.
Yeah, but this is what really bothers me about Xhaka, and Fergus is going to hate me now for doing this, and no, I'm not going to swear, is Guendouzi makes them passes week in, week out. He made one with Villa, and he made one against when he put the assist in. I can't remember what game it was now.
But that's what he's playing.
So it's, at the end of the day, he's doing it week in, week out. So you can't. This guy is, Ozil is 30 years old. He's had a lot more experience. He's been in top teams, or two top teams, sorry, with Arsenal and Real Madrid. He should, and he's on stupid amount of money per week. And thank you, Ryan. He is.
Ryan says he's too tired carrying his wages to his bank.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's underlying issues with Ozil that none of us know about. No one knows about. Because he's not turning up. He looks like his mind's elsewhere to me, and he's not playing any minutes. And, there's an underlying issue there, and hopefully it gets sorted.
Checking his online banking account, seeing them bloody zeros rolling.
On that
So,
note,
listen.
Why did he play such a big part in pre-season? Which, that's baffling.
Who's that, Ozil?
Yeah. And
Fergus.
Fergus, what are you doing?
In pre-season, okay, we'll talk about pre-season afterwards, but I arrived in block 5, and I'm row 9, and that's row 7. There's a chap. Beforehand, I'm queuing up at the bar as we do, because we do what we do, and we queue. And we had some Asians come in, and they just jumped at the front of the queue and got a beer. And I tapped them on the shoulder, said, "Excuse me, we queue over here." And they looked at me, and Potsy was with me, and his dad, and they were just laughing at my reaction. And I get to my seat, and this guy's in front of me, and at first I was, really? And then I was fuming, and he was just filming the whole time. And I tapped him on the shoulder, and I just went, "Hello, mate." I said, "We're not in Italy." I said, "Wrong shirt, wrong club." He put his top on.
He got on the wrong plane to Turin, mate.
Yeah, he did. He did put his top on. He did put his top on. Right. So looking at the just your point on preseason. Preseason was prior to all the aggro with whatever went on.
True.
Yeah. So and as Trev said, there's underlying issues that none of us know about. So the first half, Guendouzi, you mentioned Guendouzi and saying how well he's played. Guendouzi summed up our first half performance. He was sloppy in possession. His failure to track back McGinn led to the first goal. 20 minutes in, McGinn flicked it to El Ghazi, flicked in an El Ghazi cross to put Villa ahead in the first half, before Maitland-Niles was shown a second yellow card for a rash tackle on Neil Taylor 4 minutes before the break. What were your thoughts on? First of all, it was hard to see. It was hard to see the game in the UK because it wasn't shown live on UK TV. Did you all manage to get to see the game?
Yes. Well, most of it.
Yes,
most of it.
And what were your thoughts then, Trev, on the first yellow card? I thought was a stonewall yellow.
Yeah, it was definitely yellow, first yellow card. Second, I think if we'd have been able to use VAR, I don't think he'd have got a second yellow card, would he? Because his foot was up, but he wasn't going for the player anywhere near it. He was making a tackle. He got the ball,
Trev.
And it was his natural movement of his leg that took his foot up. That's not malicious. That's not a booking. That's when I was younger, boys, that was a lightweight tackle. If you missed a player, then you was in trouble. Let me tell you.
And
the thing is, he got the ball.
He did get the ball.
He got the ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like where we are in the stadium, and it was just in front of the dugout. So we're looking along that line, and you can see the ball was going this way, and all of a sudden it went along the touchline. He did get the ball. His trailing leg did catch the Villa player, but the Villa player did cock his leg out to the side a little bit to try and, I don't know, get the ball or whatever. So for me, it could easily have been a free kick and continue at play, but equally it could have been a yellow card for both players. I did think the way the referee actually managed that booking was awful. I don't think he actually realised he had given Maitland-Niles the first yellow, because he reached to his back pocket first of all, then he thought about it, and then he reached to his front pocket, took the yellow out, and then he looked at his card and realised, oh shit, I've booked him. So, it could have gone either way.
Look, the way it is, he got the ball at the end of the day, and like Trev said, this is what VAR's for, something like this. And it was pretty clear, even when they slowed it down on the highlights, because I watched the highlights as well. I've watched it on 2 or 3 platforms today. And I agree with Andy there. It was unlucky, and it's the way it is. But if VAR is meant for something like this, if the referee's completely missed it and looking elsewhere, because that referee was shocking. I know they said something else. Good track back. It was absolutely shocking on the day. So he actually got the ball, and obviously he's caught the player on the way through. But the way it works, surely, I think the way it works is he got the ball. If it was in the penalty area and it was exactly the same thing, if VAR would be shown, he got the ball first, it'd carry on play. So how's it work that if it's just outfield?
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say before you go on, Trev, the worst thing was, Alex mentions it, the worst thing is he crocked himself and making a tackle.
There is that as well, yeah.
So he's got a 1-match ban anyway for a red card, and will he have, how long will he be out? Has anybody heard of how long he's out for his injury?
I reckon that red card will probably get overturned.
Do you reckon?
I don't think he's injured. I don't think he's
Well, he'll
injured.
be injured, yeah.
He was buying time on the floor. He's a clever lad. But just going back to what Mike said, you said that he did catch him. Well, in the games we watch nowadays, they don't get caught, do they? They get touched and they go down.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah.
You know,
Socrates.
that crown muncher down at Tottenham, he's
Which
starting
one?
it all off. You know, you touch
Which
him.
one?
And they
You know,
go
what I mean,
down.
you can go through a list, can't you, Trev? You can go
Yeah.
with Salah, you can go with Kane,
Yeah.
you can go with Ali, you can go
Yeah.
with a load of them, and they all do
Well-
the same. You know, what I mean, one little buddy
Mike,
fingertip touch and they're crying all over the place, rolling around. Look at Neymar, for God's sake.
well, Mike, if we're honest, we can say that about some of our own players as well.
Oh
They
yeah,
get
you
an-
can.
They get an expert at that little leg flick to find a touch, and as soon as they're touched, then they're gone. You know,
Yeah.
so maybe we do need to expand VAR. It's the first season of VR, so you know maybe we need to expand it. I don't think that Maitland-Niles would have got a red if they'd have looked. If the ref could have looked at that again, he would have. He wouldn't have got a red.
With regards to appealing, I don't think you can appeal to yellow cards. So although it turned into a red, you can't appeal a yellow two yellows.
You can overturn the ban.
Yeah, you can overturn the ban. Yeah.
Are you sure?
You see, I have every single-
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can overturn the. Yeah, you can overturn the red card. Yeah, so he got a red card, you can overturn it. So you can overturn the ban.
Okay, but in
well-
fairness, Bellerin and Tierney next Monday night against Bellerin, against Man United should probably start. So Maitland-Niles probably will do with a rest if he has or has not been injured one way or the other. So
Fergus, just before you move on, mate. Just before you move on, I'm sorry. Are we're gonna talk about tomorrow's game? Are we? I've got the list here, but I can't scroll down it to be honest at the minute.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about.
We're going to touch on it. We've got an hour. We've already eaten up 26 minutes, so we're churning. We might go slightly longer.
I mean, the reason I'm asking is that we could have a very interesting defence out tomorrow night. We could have a very interesting defence out tomorrow night. We could have Bellerin, Tierney, and Holding all back in the side.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Hold that thought. Let's finish this game, Trev, and then yes, I do agree that is what the discussion point would be about what potential lineups we should have tomorrow night. So we went in at 1-0. I was with Potsy and I was with Brad and a few of the other guys. Some from the forum, some from Guns and Yellow Ribbons, and so on. And we're talking, and people saying, if we lose this, Emery will be under pressure. And this isn't getting into like an Emery in-out sort of debate whether you think he's a good manager or not. But he genuinely, I think, would have been under pressure. One, by the fan base, and two, just by the fact that it was an opportunity after the Watford game as well. It was an opportunity to put things right, and with the results that had gone, Tottenham had lost. How much did we laugh? Chelsea were going to lose.
the only team ever to be winning 2-0 and lose 2-1. My good God, I nearly swore then.
You're gonna love VAR, and they're the ones who were singing VAR, VAR, VAR. So Chambers came on for Saka. Unfortunate for Saka. I thought he would get another 15 minutes or so, but because of Maitland-Niles' red, that was going to be obvious. I personally would have taken probably Xhaka off and put Chambers on and left Saka on for a little bit longer. This Saka, this is really going to be difficult for me, isn't it? I'm bad enough with bloody pronunciation. So Guendouzi, despite his first half of well, the whole team were pretty poor in the first half. Guendouzi led by example, and you know me, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Guendouzi, but I am quite a strong critic of Guendouzi, and I say that if you're old enough to be in the first team, you should be good enough to be in the first team. And on occasions, I don't think he is. But honestly, humble pie, because in that second half, Guendouzi led by example. He in the closing stages, he was just driving runs into the penalty area. One of those runs resulted in a sloppy tackle from Engels. I think that's how you call him, allowing Pepe to score from the penalty spot on the 59th minute to bring it back to an equaliser. The penalty, how did we rate the penalty, Steve?
Took it well. I think.
Do you think?
Yeah, I thought Aubameyang, selflessly gave it away, which we saw him do with Lacazette when he had his drought last season. But no, I thought he took it well. I think if in doubt, just slam it down the middle, and that's exactly what he did. He used to take penalties for Lille, so yeah. As soon as I saw him step up, I thought this is it. This is going in.
And he didn't even look at the keeper once.
No, he knew where he was placing it. He knew the keeper was going to go one way or the other, so he struck it straight down the middle.
You say that. So you're saying he looked quite confident? I actually thought he didn't look that confident.
I mean,
He got 9 out of 10 penalties for Lille last season.
Mike, I'm not denying his capability of scoring, but on that particular event, I didn't think he looked very confident. He looked quite nervous.
Well, he's going to be, isn't he? Yeah, he's going to be nervous. He's about to score his first goal for Arsenal, hopefully. Aubameyang's played a blinder, giving him that. Credit to that young lad. But yeah, he's going to be nervous. Oh, the penalty down the middle, yeah, he's gone safe, and he's thinking, I'm not missing it. I'm going to hope the keeper moves, and I'm going to put it down the middle. But credit to him, yeah. And let's hope this starts him off on a roll now, Ray, and he keeps going, because up front, I don't think you can fault us, can you?
But Trev, seconds later, minutes later, Arsenal went behind again when Wesley on the 60th minute went down the other end and scored another goal to put them 2-1. Calamitous defending by Luiz. I actually, from where we were sitting, I thought it went in off Luiz's toe, but I think Wesley just got a little bit to it.
Leg, Luiz didn't get anything on it, but it was Xhaka dropping off of the runner. Socrates was trying to cover in case he passed it out wide. So as soon as Xhaka dropped off his run, Socrates was left to carry on. He was left flat-footed, and then Luiz was in front of the keeper, tried flailing the leg and got nowhere near it. So I don't think in that occasion you can put all the blame on Luiz, but Xhaka, Luiz, and Socrates together, just positionally, it was just shocking.
Guendouzi, he's making me eat my words big time. Guendouzi drew a fine save from Tom Heaton, who pushed a low drive from the edge of the box around the post, and he was gutted by that as well. You could see, and I've watched it again since on Match of the Day a couple of times today, and you could see he was just like, oh Jesus, he really thought he had, and it was quite an adventurous shot from far out, because there wasn't really much else on.
It was a hell of a shot, but it also was a hell of a save as well. So yeah, it was. I felt for him as well, because I was hoping he would score.
Yeah, I just want
to see you eating humble pie, Fergus.
No, I said it the other day, Mike, and I still not checked it, but I did hear that Guendouzi's never scored a goal at first team level. Desperately need him to score a goal, that young man, because that's all that's missing at the minute, isn't it, Fergus?
I'm sure he has.
Has he?
He's not scored in the league.
Scored. He has scored for us, though.
Yeah, he has scored for us, but he hasn't scored in the league.
A guy who's come under.
I could be wrong.
A guy who's come under a lot of criticism from all of us is Granit Xhaka. And I'm not a great fan of him, and you can see from Mike in the corner, he's holding his head in his hands. He's not a fan's favourite at the minute. I know Steve had a very detailed conversation with some people on Arsenal Fans Forum about him and some of the other defenders, and he's definitely Marmite, but he got taken off for 59 minutes or thereabouts. It was around just after that goal went in, I think. He was taken off, and when his number went up, there was the loudest roar in the stadium you could believe. And Trev, you go to the games. What's your thoughts on that and like Xhaka as well?
Right, I don't rate Xhaka. I don't rate him at all. I think he gives the ball away far too often. Serious face here now, right? I think he gives the ball away far too often, and I don't think he's up to the standard we need. But he goes out and he plays for the Arsenal. Speaking personally, I'm an Arsenal fan, yeah? I will never, ever boo a player off the field or cheer in a malicious way. Yeah, I don't think he's good enough. I'd like to see others in the side, but don't boo him. Don't be booing them, boys. They're out there playing for the Arsenal. You're an Arsenal fan. Have your opinions, but you're not doing him any favours, are you? By booing, he's still going to get in the team next week if Emery picks him. All you're doing by booing him is just lowering his confidence even more. But he don't help himself, Xhaka, does he? Because these couple of interviews he's given in the last couple of weeks have not helped him at all. Not helped him at all. He's not helped himself, the lad. But you still won't hear me booing a player, regardless of who it was. And trust me, I've seen some rubbish at the Arsenal. As most
well, Andy Fink has just commented saying, "Remember Aboué getting booed off too. Not a fan's best work," was his comment, and he was the sub that got subbed, and he was crying when he left. We support the Arsenal. It doesn't matter who's in the dugout, who's on the pitch. We support the Arsenal.
Absolutely, Fergus. Well said, mate.
I personally wouldn't do it myself, but I can see why people are doing it because of everything. But you got to see it from other people's point of view as well. You know what I mean? I know it's rose-tinted glasses and probably blinkers on at times, but I can see why people are doing it with everything that he's done, with everything he's putting in the press. He's putting that blame game to everyone else. This is the thing. He's made a rod for his own back. That's the problem. And I can see what you guys are saying. Yes, me personally, I wouldn't do it. I agree with you guys on that, but I can still understand why so many people are doing it.
Rebecca just commented about Xhaka and his hand signal. I think at Frankfurt, that's to do with Albanian. It's an Albanian thing because I know he's officially he's German, isn't he? No, he's Swiss. He's Swiss, but his brother plays for the Albanian national team, so they're both Albanian, and that's to do with when Albania and Kosovo weren't recognised. So,
by the way, Fergus, that's not Rebecca. Rebecca's lovely. That's Terry Greenwood's missus. Terry Eyes behind his missus' Facebook, but he has got a point. Got a point. I wonder what it was that Anne signed. It did appear that he was giving some kind of negative gesture, from my perspective, to the fans. But you've just explained it, mate. So that puts that one to bed. In fairness.
Okay. So where are we? We've got the substitution. Tyrone Mings, for whose form saw him called up for England. The England squad was punished for a poor header on the edge of the 6-yard box when Chambers equalised on the 81st minute. Now, Chambers was partly at fault, I think, for them going ahead. I think he lost his man when Wesley scored, but Chambers was persistent in because he tried to put a cross in, and the cross came off Tyrone Mings, and then he just went sod it, and he put it in the back of the net, and he was delighted with his goal. And can
I just point out as well who actually gave the ball to Chambers? Come on, Fergus, who was it?
I expect it was Guendouzi because you're trying to wind me up.
It was a hell of a pass as well. This is what I was trying to say about Ozil. Ozil can maybe do one or two passes. He's doing a few a game. Not just one, he's doing a few.
In fairness, Guendouzi, if he has games like that all the time, I'll be his biggest fan. No,
you won't.
No, listen, I don't have an issue with him per se. I didn't like the way he goes to ground too easily. I didn't like the way he pulls out of a tackle, which he didn't do in the second half. And I don't like the way he goes around with his flaying arms. Is that the word? Flaying arms, and also runs after the referee, complaining and moaning. On another point, no. He in particular, right? He's on a yellow card already, Mike. Okay, he's on a yellow card already, and he gets into a tete-a-tete with the keeper, and he could easily there was a bunch of players that gathered around and everything could have easily gone wrong. We're down to 10 men, and he goes and has a row with Tom Heaton. he shouldn't be doing that. This is where he needs to get his
Was
head
that
together.
was that his penalty when he got fouled over the
No,
penalty?
no, it wasn't his penalty. This was another time later in the game.
So was it when he had his penalty? He was flagging for a yellow card, flagging for a card.
Yes,
Well, you can't again. But that's the other thing. The referee had a bad game. He was waving cards around all over the place.
Somebody would have commented up earlier that John Moss was awful, and he was dreadful. But he can't be doing that card thing. He can't be having a row with the keeper when we're down to 10 men.
Yeah, I understand. He's got to get some things out of his system. But yeah, I agree. He shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But then again, you could also argue who doesn't. You know what I mean? There's loads of them that do
right,
it.
But there are loads that do keep their head down and do it. There's some really good young players that do that and keep their head down. For the life of me now, I can't think of any to give you an example, but there are loads that do it.
You got to remember as well, Fergus, this is only his second season in the Premier League. You know, he's probably used to League Two. So, you know what I mean? He might be used to getting away with stuff like that. Obviously, with it being the Premier League, it's only his second season, so he's still got to iron some stuff out yet. But he's doing really well at the minute, and I agree on some of the stuff definitely. But you got to think as well. Look at how many Villa players were complaining to the ref as well about certain things. So
and in fairness, just to finish up on the Villa game, Villa had a penalty claim turned down by Jonathan Moss on the 89th minute when the substitute Conor Houlihan shot a ball against Socrates' arm. And I know on our internal WhatsApp chat, Manny came along and maybe one of you guys come along and said, "Oh no, it was more his shoulder." It wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No, it was lucky.
It was his arm. I was down the other end in block 5, looked, and I just put my head in my hands, and I just thought, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
It was lucky that the fire alarm went off in the bloody van outside.
Well,
it would have been an accident if it had hit his hand. You couldn't have blamed Socrates for that. The ball hit the hand. I know that's basically a penalty nowadays. Oh, boys, I've still got Guendouzi in my head. Have we got to move on, Fergus? I need to...
No. Finish up on Guendouzi then.
You see, for years, right, we've been crying out of the Arsenal for a player like Guendouzi, who's a bit feisty, who's going to get in the goalkeeper's face and say, "Hey, behave yourself, or I'm going to have a word with you." Mind you, that big lad, what's his name, that defender that pushed Guendouzi away, Jesus, he's a big fella, and I wouldn't want to mess with him. But, that's what we've wanted. Now, you need to make amends to Guendouzi, Fergus. So I think that you, Fergus, needs to be putting together a Guendouzi song. And
you do.
It can't be any worse than the Aubameyang effort, because that is absolutely awful. You need to be thinking up a Guendouzi song, Fergus. Because the young lad is already, in my opinion, and going to be in future a superstar. I'd make him captain tomorrow. I would. Someone put it on Facebook today. Next 8 years, here, Guendouzi, have the wristband have the armband for the next 8 years.
Let's see how Tierney does. Right, so Arsenal have kept one clean sheet in their last 10 games against newly promoted teams in the Premier League, which was only against a 1-0 win against Huddersfield in May 2018, which you were at, Scunny, which was the final Wenger game, including none of their 7 such games with Unai Emery. So he's not kept a clean sheet against newly promoted teams. Aubameyang has scored 16 goals in 16 games across all competitions for Arsenal, including the last 4 in a row. He's had 5 goals. I think we'll get into the Gunnar debate now, because the Gunnar debate, really, what we're going to talk about really is, I've touched on Emery a few times, and I don't want to get this into an Emery in or out thing, but I said that the discussion between myself and Potsy at half time was like he's under pressure. Do you think he's under pressure still? He looks like he is on the halfway line. Who wants to go in first?
Yeah,
I don't care. Go on, Steve. Sorry, son. Go on, Steve.
No. I think he knows. Obviously, he only got given a 2-year contract. He knows our aim is to get top 4. He's already saying that, he said in, I think, the Europa press conference that, he wants to get into the Champions League next year. And option 1 is by doing it in the league. Option 2 is the Europa League. And he knows that the fans are turning. I think the board know that the fans are already starting to turn. He needs to get it right this year. And so far, he's been such a mixed bag. The players need to stand up and be counted, of course. But if we don't get top 4 this season, I think that's it. That's him gone. and I think he already knows that.
And they talk about players under Wenger before they got rewarded. What was that? Why do players not get rewarded after a good shift? Same as under Wenger.
They didn't under Wenger.
But how should they get rewarded then, Steve?
Well, I mean, you're saying about, you look at players like Gnabry, look at players like Joel Campbell, look at players like Callum Chambers under Arsene Wenger. 3 of those players never put a foot wrong in an Arsenal shirt, but 2 of them left. Chambers got pushed out on loan twice. Yes, one of them was under Emery, of course, but I just think if a player puts in a good shift, like Saka did on Thursday, he got the reward in starting. But I think that comes down to the fact that we're light on the wings at the moment. I think if Lacazette was fit, Saka wouldn't have started on Friday.
No, he wouldn't.
Whether he scored 5, wouldn't have started yesterday. Whether he scored 5 on Thursday, he wouldn't have played. So okay. I think really players should be rewarded with some good form if they've got some good form. But unfortunately, they don't. And you look at the midfield, and you look at someone like Xhaka that's starting week in, week out after poor performances. Players like Willock that have a good game. Guendouzi has obviously had a mainstay, but Torreira, he's coming off the bench and having a good game. And Xhaka starts in front of him. And there's no real justice in that, in my opinion.
So whose fault is it? Is it the manager's fault?
Absolutely, it's the manager's fault. Because it's the manager that picks the lineup.
And Anthony message in the group says that the man's useless. You got to sack him.
In my opinion, you can't sack him now. I think with the players playing how they already are and the errors that are thrown about, if you get in a manager now that tries to then say, right, you played like this under Emery, you played like this under Wenger, we're now playing like this, it's going to take 6, 7, 8 weeks to implement a new philosophy in training. Sometimes it works, but I think with the players that we've got, and you can see how long it's taken to transition from the Wenger style to the Emery style, I don't think sacking him now is the wrong thing. I think, as I say, you've got to give him till May, in my opinion. And then if he doesn't do well, and even if he does get us into the top 4, and he's, the board decides actually he's not the right man to do it, we've only just scraped through, then get somebody else and give a full pre-season, clear out players that they don't want. They need to have that time off and time to change things. You can't do it midway through a season if we're playing this badly at the moment.
Okay.
Are we playing badly?
Well, I mean the errors that are in the game at the moment.
I disagree with you, Big Steve. Do I ever disagree with you, pal? Firstly, I'm not going to talk about Wenger, right? It's gone. It's been and gone. Stop dwelling on Wenger, everybody, right? It's time. I never spoke bad about him. He was a brilliant. I loved him. But his time's gone. He's done. We'll move on, right? So now we talk about Emery, right? Why do we want to sack Emery? He's been there since 2 seasons. The pressure's building on Emery, and it shouldn't be. Right? Why are fans turning against him? We're 4th in the league after 7 games, or is it 8 games, whatever it is, Look down on there's Chelsea, there's Man United, all in worse positions than us. The only teams above us are Liverpool and Man City, who have both got managers that have been there some considerable time now, and they've built their squad. It's not taking them a year. It's not taking them 2 years. How long's Klopp been at Liverpool? 3, 4 years?
3 or 4 years, yeah.
5.
5 years. There you go.
5 years.
5, yeah.
There you go. Right, 5 years. You don't take what he got at the start of last season and turn them into European champions in a season and a half.
No,
it doesn't happen. You've got to give it. We're getting everything we wanted, right? We're getting new players in. We've got backroom staff change. We've got directors of football. We've got that many people. I can't even remember who they all are now, right? Raul and all that lot. But, we are getting changed. We've got January to come. I think it'll be a big mistake if we don't strengthen the defence in January. Although I know we're going to talk about it in a minute. We've got to, because our defence could well be strengthened from tomorrow night. Very interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But don't. Go on. Sorry, Steve.
That's it as well. At the moment we are without Holden, we are without Bellerin, we are without Tierney, who's expected to make a good. A real good impression. And I mean, the point I was making was not that I think he should be sacked or I think he should be out the door regardless in May. I'm just saying that I can understand why fans are starting to question, because so far this season we haven't hit the ground running. And last season, we did see an improvement, but yeah, I'm not saying that I think he should go, but there is pressure building.
And Andy Fink says, thankfully, our rivals have problems too. Man United, Spurs, Chelsea, they have problems, but I think almost that because of the situation they're in, they've actually have to deal with what they've got, deal with youth and get on with it. And they're doing all right. They didn't look too bad against Liverpool.
If they didn't have their transfer ban, I think things might have been different for them.
But the transfer ban actually might do them a favour.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. The transfer ban's done them maybe a little bit of a favour, but you've also got to look at if they didn't have that ban, I think things might be slightly different.
You see, what you've got to remember, boys, is there's no bad teams in the Premier League this year. I think it's a very strong league. All the teams that should be struggling have had great results. Norwich have had a good
Sheffield
result.
United, everyone rated
Sheffield
them.
United have had a good result.
Yeah, everyone rated them to finish dead last.
Yeah, Newcastle have had a good result, right? So they're all having good results. Now, we played with 10 men for over half a game against Aston Villa, who are not the weakest of sides, and we've nicked a 3-2 win. And we've been behind twice while we're down to 10 men. We still won the game 3-2. And we've took off our supposed captain, who's meant to be, who should be our talisman, our driving force, our central midfielder, who's going to drive us on with 10 men. He's had the bottle to take him off while we're down. And we've shown a right pair. I think someone once said we showed some kahunas, isn't it? Someone said that once. Right? And that's what we've done. And I thought we'd come away with a 3-2 win, down to 10 men over half a game. I'm not unhappy with the result of the weekend. No. Not at all.
Look at the crowd. Everyone talks about the crowd at the Emirates. Yesterday, just, from watching it on a stream, they looked just... I think one of the commentators said when Aubameyang scored the free kick, the Emirates went bonkers, and it looked like that. And I think to see that reaction and the reaction of the players, I think a lot of the time in the second half, I even forgot that we were down to 10 men.
In fairness, I met up with Edward Seaborn. He comes from South Africa and he's relocated over here. And I had to sort out his ticket and stuff because he's renting a season ticket, etc. And there was some aggro over that. But we met up for a beer in the Woodbine beforehand, and I met James Power as well, both from Arsenal Fans Forum. And he was talking about the atmosphere because his first ever game at the Arsenal in the North Bank, etc. And he came up to me at half time, and I'm not going to do a South African accent, but he came along and says, Fergus, the atmosphere here is crap. Oh, this is awful. The clock end need to be singing. And I said, look, what you hear on TV is not always what it actually in reality is. So you know it will get better in the second half. The team are playing towards us, etc., etc. And if we get a goal, it will light up. And effectively, that's what did happen. And we came back at them, we got a goal, and it lit up. Listen, there was one question I put out to you guys, and just brief one line or so, and then we'll quickly look at the Forest, and we've obviously got the United game as well. I saw a question on Twitter, I think it was, and it was the Arsenal Invincibles versus the Trev wasn't happy about this one. The Arsenal Invincibles versus, say, Man City or Liverpool of today. Who do you think would win such a game? Trev, go on. You didn't want to answer, so I'm going to put it on you straight away.
Fergus, it's a no-brainer. Of course the Arsenal Invincibles would have won. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not going to say anything else. We'd have beat them. We're the best team. We're the only team ever gone unbeaten in the season. That's it. They wouldn't have beaten us because we were unbeatable. We were the Invincibles. Question over. Move on.
Anybody else want to shoot me down in flames?
Amen.
In all fairness, it's a bit of a daft question for biased fans, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, but again, trying to look at objectively at how much football has progressed or not. Were the Arsenal Invincibles as good as... Because football has changed over the years, Trev. And the reason I was interested in your response, Trev, because you've been going there for nearly 50 years. And it was just interesting. You've seen football change so much. And that's why I just thought, You could give a better answer than that.
Football is unrecognisable now, Fergus, even
Yeah.
from like 20 years ago, less than that. In that we don't tackle anymore in football. We think we tackle, but we don't tackle. Anybody wants to if it's got a spare half hour or a spare hour, go on YouTube and put in the big match 1970s, right? And just watch some of the highlights from the games in them days. Wow. The games, if they'd have played the same games then, now, it'd end up five-a-side. There'd be no players left on the field. They wouldn't need VAR, trust me. It's pretty obvious what was going on,
The games would have been abandoned, wouldn't they, really?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would nowadays. Yeah, they would nowadays. Yeah.
So listen, tomorrow night, you touched on it. We're going to have a really interesting opportunity. I'm sure that we'll have Tierney, Bellerin, Holding maybe on the bench. I think. I don't know if will he start?
Andy Harris
What do we?
Very good comment.
Sorry, I've just seen someone's comment on there, so I just thought I'd start laughing.
So just let's finish off on the Man City thing.
Yeah,
Anthony has said, Man City have lost to Norwich. We're not allowed to swear. Invincibles would have stuffed them. Okay, Anthony, we'll get that point. But listen,
it's the other one, Fergus.
But you could. Sorry, one second, Anthony. You could spin that the other way around. That we lost a 2-goal lead to Watford, and then Man City went and Watford made Man City look like Harlem Globetrotters or whatever the word is. So,
they absolutely smashed them to pieces.
But we're looking at the Carling Cup or whatever it's called now, the Caribou Cup. What do we reckon on this game? What do you think?
Gonna stuff them.
They're bringing a lot of fans with them, aren't they? They're bringing a lot of fans with them. They've sold over 8,000 tickets. Not Forest.
They have. Ryan is come along and said Arsenal site says Holding is available for selection now. Maitland-Niles did not get an injury from the Villa game. Well done. You were right. But is suspended for the game tomorrow. Oh, good. Well, actually, that's not too bad. So he's available for the United game if required.
I forgot the red cards go into the FA Cup games.
It's the League Cup. So, yeah, they don't go into the FA Cup.
No, they go both. They go both. They must go both then. Because I thought it was... I thought it was just the FA Cup, so I apologise. Yeah, it is the League Cup, and I thought it only went into the FA Cup as well.
I'm not actually going to the game tomorrow night for a couple of reasons. Obviously, as I said before, the stuff going on, but I've been in the past to the League Cup, and I've booked my own seat. And Mike, and Trev, you know what it's like there. We stand, and there's about 3 to a seat, and we have a have a good old laugh. I went there for, I think it was Arsenal versus West Ham in either the FA Cup early rounds or League Cup early rounds. And 7 minutes in, the crowd was like, stand up if you hate Tottenham, and all this sort of stuff all over and over again. And I tried to get something going 7 minutes in. I went Rocky Road Castle, and some guy turned around to me and said, oi mate, leave it out, it's a different era. And honestly, it just
you got shot down massively.
No, he's a different crowd at Carabao Cup games. I don't enjoy going. Well, I don't go anymore at the moment, do I? But it is different. You what, mate?
That's where I first met you without knowing. I got Johnny seat, didn't I?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. How strange is that, Steve? 60,000 in a crowd, and you sit next to me in Johnny's seat. Yeah, amazing. Can I just ask a question about tomorrow? Right?
Yeah.
Would he dare play Bellerin, Tierney, and Holding? Would he dare start all three? I'd love to see it. But...
Why not?
Yeah, well, they're all coming back from injury, aren't they? So there might be a bit of a risk there. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see these boys back.
Again, it's not on UK TV. It is on some. It's on for African listeners and viewers. It's on SuperSport 3. I think it's on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app for American viewers. So I'm sure our UK viewers will find a very legitimate stream somewhere on the internet.
Amazing, isn't it? English
Isn't it?
football's not shown on English TV.
It's ridiculous, and it
awful.
boils my
All
it
makes
boils my
sense.
blood.
Yeah.
It boils my blood.
And when they do show it, they cost you an arm and a leg with Sky Sports and BT Sports. It's pointless.
Day
Fine.
pass has gone up to £10 now as well. Sky
I've
Sports
told you.
Day
I've
Pass.
told you what to do. We'll take that offline.
And you can't watch any games on Boxing Day this year unless you've got something else, can you? What is it? Amazon or something?
Amazon Prime, yeah.
My good God.
I've got it, I'm all right.
There's
I've
two.
got-
There's some good TV programs on there for you, just to let you know.
I've got other options. I'm not saying.
I was going to say if you're not, I know people who have other options as well. So that's
I know people that rob people.
right. Listen. Finally, Johnny is on holidays. He will be doing the match preview show. I'm not sure who he's going to have on with him, but he'll be doing it probably Saturday evening or Sunday. It's one of the games I always look out for because my brothers are United supporters. Arsenal take on United next Monday evening. Quickly round robin. Who do we think, or what do we think the score will be? Steve, I'll go with you first.
4-0.
Oh, I'm writing this down.
Yeah,
4-0
I think 4-0
to Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Mike.
Well, I'm going. I'll be in the ground. I'll be in the stands. But I'm going to predict. I'm afraid so. I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's brave. Bearing in mind Rashford is now injured, and the only person they've got
sorry,
up front
I
is.
thought we were talking about tomorrow.
No,
Yeah.
Oh,
You're locked and loaded now. Locked
Yeah,
and loaded.
Oh, no way. United, I'd say 2-1.
Well, win or loss.
2-1 Arsenal.
I've got you down for 4-0. It's written down. It's in ink. Look, it's there. Done. You get a point if we win.
If it happens.
Yeah. Trev, go for it.
Well, I think with Rashford out, right, I think we're going to win 3-1. I think we're going to win. The boys are going to turn up.
You know what? I think it's going to be a rare occasion. It hasn't been for a while that we've gone to Old Trafford. The last time was who scored that? Danny Welbeck. Yeah, Danny Welbeck. Will Tord have got goals up there. I do feel that we will win. Depending on how our defence, which gets a run out tomorrow night, how they figure out. I'm with you, Trev. I'm going. I'm not confident on us keeping a clean sheet, so I will go for 3-1 as well. So, right, listen, people. This is the end of the podcast. We're now just going to ramble on about making you please like, share, review us. We are just Arsenal fans, normal fans like you and the rest of us. We do this for fun. We're not trying to get famous. We're not trying to do anything else. We just enjoy talking about Arsenal and being with our mates. The one thing I would like to say beforehand, before we close off, is I would like to wish Colchester all the best, and hopefully that they beat that lot down the lane, down the road tomorrow as well in the League Cup. You have preach.
Cohen Bramall's playing for Colchester now, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
ex Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right, you have been listening to an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. If you do like the show, please review us. Please follow us here, obviously on Facebook, but we are going to migrate across to YouTube, and this will be reposted on YouTube. Come after Christmas, all these will go online on YouTube. You can also, if you like the audio podcast, they will continue. The audio will continue on Spotify, Acast, Apple iTunes, any platform that you want. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody. Up the arse.